Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Natives in America podcast, and you're listening to your host, Benjamin Juan. And with me, as always, is Sky Antone.
What's good? What's crack-a-lacking? How we doing? How we doing today on this grateful day?
Yeah, I'm wearing some red and black flannel socks right now. It's very Christmassy, but like I'm wearing it because it's freaking cold right now. Like it rained all night last night.
Yeah.
It was like smoking weather, but it was so damn cold I just stayed inside. I kept looking out the window like, Dad, I should go out and smoke and listen to the rain, but it was freezing last night. So I'm wearing Christmas socks right now. Like they're woolly on the inside, and I'm keeping warm here. That is neither here nor there.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were just getting in the Christmas spirit.
Dude, I have, man. Like it's been such a crappy year. Like I've kind of been trying to lean that way. Like usually when the holidays come along, like I'm not ready for them. They just kind of caught up to me. I'm like, oh shit, it's that time. I need to start thinking about others, or like I need to like family up. I need to family up, and God, there's been so much bad crap happening. We're losing people left and right, and it's like, man, I kind of want a happy Christmas and New Year's. Like I'm ready to put this year back. I'm ready to put this year to bed. I'm ready to finish it. It's been a shitty year. So I've been trying to get that Christmas spirit going again, because I'm just saying it's been a bad year, and I've been like, I just put up the Christmas decorations yesterday, and it was more for my mom than I think it was for me, but I kind of enjoyed putting them up. I've been talking about doing it for a week, maybe a week and a half, and it's like, all right, I finally did it. And it feels good. Like I like turning them on and then going out and looking at them.
Oh yeah. I was almost gonna throw that idea as for a topic too. When we tore up Thanksgiving, or attempted to tear up Thanksgiving, I was like, are we going to tear up Christmas too? And then I was like thinking, like the lights, like why do we put up lights? But I saw this thing about like why people have lawns, and it was something they said that started in Europe where like slaves couldn't walk on certain property, and a lawn was pretty much like showing off to somebody like how much extra space they had that you couldn't walk on.
Wow. And
that concept kind of came with to why people have lawns, and
like status and
almost
you can't walk here. That's kind of a gross connection to history there. Kind of like I like looking at some green now. Like I installed some artificial grass at my baby's mama's house, and or when I was with her, we did, and I still like looking out the window and seeing all that green. That was pleasing, but now that you say that, like, damn, I don't want a lawn now. Fuck.
No, I mean it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Don't do this right now, man. Don't do it. It's not your fault. Don't do this to me, man.
You've been you drank the Kool-Aid. Yeah, you're part of it.
I'm part of the problem now.
You're not a part of it, but you're kind of connected to it.
I'm definitely a willing participant.
But I mean, sometimes there's a initial meaning, but then it's almost like there's always another almost another undertone from how someone else can make it something else.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I that was what I was thinking of, like, yeah, the Christmas lights, kind of, because there's always a Christmas film where the lights are kind of a part of the plot or the tale. I've been watching a lot of corny Christmas movies lately.
Yeah.
I was watching Deck the Halls. Yeah, what was it?
Jingle.
It was about. It's about. I was watching Jingle All the Way, but it was the other one where the neighbors are like competing who's gonna have the brightest shit, and it becomes less about the holiday and more about the competitiveness, and someone gets hurt. Almost that same storyline for all Christmas movies. But yeah, I mean, it's not a competition, but maybe it is.
Well, I'm gonna put the kibosh on it right now. Let's save that for our Christmas episode.
Oh yeah. Well,
I can feel this episode going that way right now, and I don't want.
Get back on track.
Yeah, we kick this off in one direction. Let's stick to it for as long as we can. For the love of God.
We just say a free swerve and a freestyle at the end.
Yeah. I don't. It's been a while since we have freestyled, so I wouldn't mind having that right now. But we do have a subject, right? Yeah, we do. Well, we're 7 minutes in. I think we should say something, Sky, if you want to. Take the wheel.
You want me just to jump right in, or you want me to tell the origin of why I came up with this?
I like having an origin.
Okay. Alright, well, so I forgot I was supposed to get bread. Well, like, it was a certain kind of, like, I want to say, I call it Mexican bread, but it's like, it's like, it's good with like pulled meat. It's kind of like you just cut it open and throw in the meat. So I was supposed to get bread today, and I forgot. And I felt bad, but it was like I was in the zone.
Are you?
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Alright, so I was in the zone at work, and my mom sent a text saying, "Hey, get some bread," and I totally spaced. So when I got home, I realized I forgot it. So my brother said he'll drive me, and we drove to the store. And so I had to get the bread, and then I was like, asked my brother, should I get anything else? And the only thing he said was, some donuts from the bakery. And it just triggered in my head, because right before we were getting ready to go to the store, I was watching like a Vice. It was not even a full documentary. It was like one of these stories on Snapchat where you just kind of watch them by the 10-second intervals or whatever.
Yeah. And
it was about this guy that was kind of like addicted to Krispy Kreme donuts, but he was like very like, he didn't like binge. He just kind of like was very disciplined. Like, I think it was like every 2 weeks he would go get some, but he got pulled over, and a cop had asked to search his car, and they found the flakes from the Krispy Kreme donut. And what it was well, so they said, well, what's this flaky stuff? And the guy was like, that's Krispy Kreme donuts. I haven't like cleaned it. It was like I haven't vacuumed it yet. And the guy did like a drug test on it, and it came up as meth because he thought it was methamphetamine.
Uh-huh.
And when they ran the test, it said that it tested for positive for
what?
meth. And
is that how they? Go ahead.
Well, so he got arrested. Turns out the test that they were using was really not so great of a test because it was like anything that they tried to run it as was like a positive.
What?
For meth. So it was like really not a reliable test, and it was like very like even they're saying the cop that did it didn't really know how to operate it. So like if you weren't operating the test right, it's always going to give you a positive.
What?
For so they sued. I don't know if it was the county or the state, but
yeah,
this guy has a felony on his
oh my God,
his record because a cop charged him for having meth, which was really Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh my God.
And it's still a legal battle, but over a fucking donut, you know? But I love donuts. And I was like, man, let's talk about donuts because I mean, with the lightheartedness or the maybe not wanting to take things so scientific, I was like, I think donuts is. I think we have enough experience between us. We can have a documentary on donuts.
God.
So I was going to ask you, what is your
dear God.
Well, yeah. What do you got to say to that?
I want to get into police tactics and how fucked up and corrupt they are now, but wow. I've had my own share of run-ins with the police, and one thing that tends to come up in all law whenever you're trying to beat the case, I guess, is the usefulness of their tactics, like how it's properly you attack how properly it's been done. So like if they're using a machine, when's the last time it's been maintenanced? How experienced is the cop in using the machine? If they take your blood, they test like the coagulant, the anticoagulant in the thing because they found out at some point that it turned, it would ferment in the bottle, and when you did it with your blood, the fermentation would add to your alcohol reading. So that just sounds like a shit ton of corruptness, and the fact that they don't just expunge it, and the fact that they're still using this shitty test, like, just gets me so angry. But I was laughing at how you wound up talking about donuts. I was like, this is not what I expected. It never is. Like you come to me with a subject and then you come out of left field like that, man. I never know what the hell you're gonna say. I just said that on one of our comments to Dallas. I was like, fuck. Okay, but we're talking about donuts, people. We're not talking about about the police right now. So I think
there's a segue. I mean, that's the connection.
Well, yeah, it's there, Sky. Do not deny that. That is just not what I was expecting. It started. Is
that still a cliche? That was a stereotype, like when we were growing up. But is that still a thing?
What was the stereotype?
Cops and donuts. Like cops
dude,
donuts.
It's still a thing, and it's so real. It's so real.
Oh, okay.
I think it's more the convenience food and the quick sugar rush. I think as a police officer, like your shift is all about being in the zone and like being alert and being ready for the next call. And and you never have enough time to like sit down and have a real meal, so you wind up getting meals on the go. And that's coffee and donuts, like sugary, caffeinated drinks with sugary treats on the go. You know, I think it's a cliche for a reason, because you see cops with donuts all the time. You see donuts with cops. That's crazy though. I was laughing too, thinking about like, oh, is that how they fucking get us hooked on their donuts? Is they?
Oh yeah, right.
They got meth in the icing.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you?
What is your? Oh, what?
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to ask if you have a question for me then.
I was going to say, do you have, or speaking back on your time with donuts, do you have a favorite memory or a fond memory related to the first thing you think of? Or?
Well, I just want to say that I like that you said between the both of us we have extensive donut knowledge. Can we sound even
no lie,
that? It wasn't a lie, yeah, but it just didn't sound good at all. Like a couple of donut munchers. Okay.
I'm minored in donuts.
So a donut memory. I'm sure more will come to me, but I'll say this. My dad, he's a hardcore diabetic, like hardcore. He has been for a long time. But like, there's some shit we don't like. As a diabetic, you gotta watch what you eat. Mm-hmm. And like, there is some things. There's a lot of stuff that my dad loves that are on this list of things to avoid. And there are some things that we just don't give him shit for when he eats it. Like. You know, drinking a lot, we're like, hey, don't do that. But, you know, there's other foods like beans and whatever, stuff with phosphorus that gets you really sick, or, you know, it messes with your body. And one thing that my dad gets, like, consistently is donuts. Like, if we're all going to be together as a family, there's definitely going to be some donuts purchased at some point, and they're gonna show up when he shows up. So, and like, the kids love getting to the donuts. I think a good memory I had, it was when I was still with my baby's mom. We went to the opening of the Krispy Kreme here in town.
Oh yeah.
Like the morning they opened. I think they gave away like 100 dozen to the first 100 people or something. Like, they gave away a dozen, and I think there was even like a drawing for a year's worth of donuts, something like that. I remember for her birthday once, I took her. Well, I paid for it. I paid for the trip. Like, it was her car, but I paid for us to go to Casa Grande to, like, specifically to pick up some Krispy Kreme donuts, because like, she was a big fan of them. And at that time, we didn't have any in town. So, like, I threw down the gas money, and I said, like, hey, how about we, I think it was either for her birthday. I think it was her birthday. And I was like, let's drive to Casa Grande, watch a movie, and then when we get out, we'll eat, we'll get a box of donuts and eat that, and then buy a box of donuts to bring back. So it was like, it was a trip wrapped around going to Casa Grande. That's, what is that, like an hour drive from town?
About, yeah.
Maybe a little less. Well, it's definitely an hour there and back, and a lot longer. Anyway, the trip was around donuts. So like, we made a thing about it, and that was a good day. Like, I think we even got the kids, somebody to watch the kids. I think it was even before my son was born. And we went up. It was just me and her, and we got donuts and coffee, and it was like this big happy moment. And then the day that when we found out that Krispy Kreme was going to was it Broadway?
Oh, yeah.
We got all excited. We're like, oh, shit, there's a Krispy Kreme donuts here. We don't got to do this long-ass trip. Like, we can get it any time. It's here. And so we went to the opening, and, like, we took pictures, and they had, like, this big donut display. And I remember we applied for the I think it was a year's worth of donuts. Like, you would have the right to come in and just get a dozen every day if you wanted to. And I was like, fuck, like that's like winning the lotto on those people who just die they OD on coke or something. Like, they have more money than they should have, and they just go wild. And I was like, fuck, like, that's a death sentence right there. We're gonna die from Krispy Kreme. And because we would have definitely taken advantage of that. And I was thinking about, fuck, what if we win? Like, I want to win, but fuck, what if we win? It was like that show, Winning the Lottery Ruined My Life kind of thing. Like, oh shit, like, I could be 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. Like, I'm pretty heavy, but fuck, I could be heavier if we had won. So anyway, yeah, like there was a great deal of relationship progress because of donuts right there. Like, it was one of my better birthday gifts. Like, I'm really terrible at giving gifts, but a trip to Casa Grande to watch a movie and then get donuts was a pretty good one.
Oh, it's Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah.
That was, when they came out, they were like, it's like they reinvented the game. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I don't know what it means, because they're so damn crack. It's like they were crack. That's what the people were saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when I had my first Krispy Kreme. I didn't believe the hype, and then I remember we would get them when I worked at UPS, because there's Krispy Kreme up in the Valley area, and if we were like that and bagels, I think it's the Einstein bagels. Like, when we would like not get no injuries, it was like everybody was safe, no one got hurt. They would bring Krispy Kreme on Friday.
Nice.
So like that was like, I remember just the roll with all these boxes of Krispy Kreme, and that was just melting your mouth, man.
Oh yeah, especially like right off the line.
Yeah.
Hot and gooey.
Yeah, it just dissolve on your tongue.
Yeah.
The sugar just kind of just blending into your soul.
Oh yeah. Deep, guy, deep.
Yeah, so, but, I remember they were the hype, man. They still have,
What were you? What did you start that story off? You said as a team nobody got hurt?
As a what?
Where were you and what were you doing when you said that you guys would get donuts?
When I worked at UPS.
Oh, okay. So there was like a non-injury reward.
As incentive, yeah.
I see.
Reward for it, because like it was always. Like, if something was over 45 pounds, you gotta get someone to help. Like, you can't jump off the docks. They were, like, very serious about the safety. And if you fucked it up for everybody, so.
Wow, yeah, I bet.
It's like, and then when they started bringing Krispy Kremes, and it was like, oh shit, no one better mess this up, man.
Yeah, hey man, don't fuck this up for me, bro.
Yeah. So, I had to be convinced and try it out, and it was, I feel like they kind of disappeared, and then
they fell off.
They fell off for a little bit, but now I see them here and there, but like, still, they're not. I don't know any. Besides local shops, like, you don't really. But that was kind of maybe a segue into what I was going to start off. The Dunkin' Donuts when we were growing up. We lived in we lived in town where my mom was still in school, and we were going to school too. Which it was when the guy retired. It was time to make the donut guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know his name. I should look it up. He retired. Remember, he used to have that commercial, like, time to make the donuts.
Time to make the donuts.
Yeah, he retired, and the day that he retired, it was like, everybody gets a free donut.
Damn. Nice.
So, I remember my mom driving us, like, before school, we went and got a free donut.
Yeah.
Might have even been that one I'm going to, but
yeah.
I just remember they were getting a free donut today. And yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to remember which one I got.
I'll say this, I think Dunkin' Donuts was it. Around here, like that was the only donut place we would go to. Yeah. There used to be one on the corner of Ajo and Mission. So right as you're leaving town to go back to the res, you're taking Ajo. I don't know if it was a Dunkin' Donuts, but it was definitely a donut shop.
I think it was a donut wheel.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. And yeah, we used to stop there pretty regularly. Like on our way out, we used to get Churches, which was there for the longest time. We would get Churches and we would get donuts, and then head the hell out of town. Like they've added a whole bunch of stuff in that area now, like places to stop. But like back in the day, that's what we'd go to. We'd hit the Churches and then we'd hit whatever donut shop that was. But yeah, you just reminded me, like Dunkin' Donuts was the shit. Like that was our donut shop. Wherever we went, it was like, oh, let's get some Dunkin' Donuts. I used to love getting the donut holes. Like that was always a treat for us as kids. Was the donut holes.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I used to love the glazed chocolate ones. I haven't had those in a while. I might have to go back and get some.
Yeah.
I might even have to go to Krispy Kreme too, man. It's been a while.
There was Dunkin' Donuts down like by the U of A.
Uh-huh.
I remember that one. That one was nice. It was
poppin'.
I mean, it was like very well maintenance.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There was remember a little while ago they the New York branch had like rats or something, and it became this big awful thing. Like you don't want to be thinking about shit crawling around in your food when you're buying food. So I think they might have fallen off for a little bit when that happened. But it was New York, you know. It was like kind of expect some rat turds in your pizza, like your New York pizza. You reminded me though, there was another competition that I don't know if it was a competition, but like a promotion that the Krispy Kreme did here, and I don't know what it was associated with. I don't know if it was like National Pirate Day or maybe it was the release of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't even remember what it was, but they said they'd give a dozen to anybody who shows up that's dressed as a pirate. And when that day came, like we found out, we're like, oh shit, let's go. And I remember,
Mickey.
yeah. We took the kids and like we made like a bunch of fake eye patches, and like I grabbed foil and told them to like hold their hand out, and I like smashed it into like a handle. Put their hand around the handle and then wrap their hand in foil and then put a hook on it. I was like, just, practice this, like, the whole way there, we were just like, and I remember we got in line, we're like, alright, you get a dozen, we get a dozen, like, we're going to try to get as many dozens as we can. And I remember we got there, and, like, they definitely gave me one, they gave Sarah one, and then they were looking at the kids, and we're like, give the kids one too, and they just kind of like, and they gave us this look like, fuck you, dude. Just take your 2 dozen and get the fuck out of here. It was like that. And like by the time we got there, like the kids were all excited, but by the time we got there and got to the front of the line, you know, their hooks had started falling apart, and they started like needing to be carried, and the costumes didn't hold up. But that was another promotion where it was like free donuts, and we're like, fuck yeah, let's go burn some gas and spend some money on some shit and get us some donuts.
What was that, Krispy Kreme or Dunkin'?
That one was Krispy Kreme as well. These guys promoted pretty hard to get people to come to their thing. I don't know if they still do that. I think just a little while ago it was like National Donut Day.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it? Look.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up right now because I feel like it just happened, and I think people were giving donuts away too.
Yeah, there's so many of these freaking.
It says, oh no, I guess it was a while ago. It says Friday, June 3rd, or that'll be next year, June 3rd. Friday, it'll be a Friday. National Donut Day. National Donut Day, or it's spelled 2 different ways. What do you think about that? The 2 spellings. I spell it D-O-N-U-T, but that's not how you spell dough. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to read this real quick before you answer. Celebrated in the United States and in some other countries is on the first Monday of June of each year, succeeding the donut event created by the Salvation Army in Chicago in 1938 to honor those of their members who served donuts to soldiers during World War I. Wow. Thank you, Wikipedia. So the first Monday of June. I didn't know it was actually associated with war. World War I, 1938. Wow. Cool. I guess it wasn't a little while ago. It was fucking June.
Well, time is weird.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when you spell it D-O-U-G-H, it doesn't look good on a sign.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
But when you spell it D-O-N-U-T-S, it's almost like you can see it as do nuts. But like I said, on the sign, you know what it is, and it just makes more sense. But I really don't.
Dunkin' Donuts.
I still spell it out because that's just how
Because you're a badass like that?
I mean, that's just how I think it should be spelled when I'm trying to write it down. But do nuts will work too.
Do nuts.
I don't have an issue. I think D-O looks more better than D-O-U-G-H on a sign.
On a sign, I can see what you're saying. Doesn't that appear in other words, like when it has to do with food? Like we shorten the word and it just looks okay, but it's not. But it's not spelled right. Isn't there something else that does that? I feel like there's some other place we use it. People, all right, listeners, this is where you're needed. Help us out here.
I was thinking, not buffet. Is it buffet? No, that's not it. But
buffet. Let's go to the buffet.
That buffet.
Damn it. I'm a fat guy, dude. You just said buffet, and the back of my mind, I'm like, ooh, I want to go to a buffet now.
Well, this might be the freestyle session.
Yeah, this is where we're going with it. Wow.
Well, what about buffets? What is...
Well, hold on. Before we leave donuts in the dust. What about sopapillas? Is a sopapilla
sopapilla?
Yeah, the Mexican. It's like a pillow made of bread dough, and then you dip it in honey, or you pour honey on it and eat it.
I mean, I know it's, what do you call it, a pastry? Is a donut a pastry?
Is it?
I don't know. That might be the philosophical question.
What defines a donut? Is it the ring? Is it a ring, like a donut with a hole in it, like a?
It's the hole.
Is the hole?
It's the circle.
So, look, you did the international sign of the donut wheel.
I mean, I was thinking what do they call the middle parts? What did you just call them?
The donut hole.
Is that what they call it? Donut holes?
I don't know. That's what I call it.
I thought it was, I mean, I think Seinfeld does this too, where it's like the donut ball. Like, it's a
donut ball.
They're not donut balls; they're donut holes. But
that's funny though, like to think about it.
Yeah, but I would think a donut could fall into the category of a pastry, but I don't know. It's almost its own branch to where it can still stand alone. But,
okay. Yeah. Well, I think the idea is people go, oh, well, it's the piece that's cut out of the center of a donut, and that's the donut hole, like the piece.
yeah.
But I'm almost certain they're just made completely all on their own.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Oh,
and I mean, but that's.
So just to clarify the name of what you actually call it, I put into Google define a donut hole, and I got a result that I did not expect. It's giving me a Medicare description. It says most plans with Medicare prescription drug coverage have a coverage gap called a donut hole. This means that after you and your drug plan have spent a certain amount of money for covered drugs, you have to pay all costs out of pocket for your prescription up to a yearly limit, and they're calling that the donut hole. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I was looking for what they're calling a donut hole, or maybe if somebody who's not from here was like, oh, I want to know what a donut hole is. I was looking for that kind of description.
Huh.
But the very first definition of donut hole, it has to do with healthcare. That's weird. Like, I'm looking at it. That's what it is. And then the second definition, and this is the Cambridge Dictionary, so I'm guessing European. Then the second answer for donut hole. It's crazy that that's the first. The second is a small ball-shaped cake, originally cut out from the middle of a donut. A small circular cake with a hole cut out of the middle, fried in hot oil. So they're saying donuts are cake, basically, in the definition.
Huh.
I love it. You know how they use it in a sentence? It says, I just ate about 12 chocolate donut holes. And then the next one is, don't leave without trying the fried to order donut holes. Okay.
Ooh.
Alright, okay. That went somewhere I wasn't expecting.
Well,
where do we go from there?
Do we always have the donut holes? Or are those more newer? I mean, I think they're more newer, right?
I think...
Or did we start with the hole and the donut just...
What came first, man? The chicken or the egg? I feel like the donut hole is as old as the donut with a hole in it.
Yeah.
Because you gotta cut it out, so...
I mean, but like, it almost seems like the donut hole can become the donut if you work it a little, but you don't. You just keep it a ball. Or
technically, it's a donut too. I was trying to think about there's all kinds of shit. Whoa, there it goes. Never mind. I could hear shit falling off my desk, and it just happened. I want to say, I feel like the donut hole is as old as the donut, And I was trying to think about the, you know how when you go to Krispy Kreme and you can see their whole assembly line, like from while you're waiting, you can watch them be made. They got like the glass windows and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of vaguely know what you're talking about.
Bruh.
It's been a while, man.
You're fucking killing me, Smoss.
I'm not.
Where's your culture, bro? You're just not cultured, man.
Hey,
you don't know this? It's common knowledge, bro. It's common knowledge.
I like but it's my mom calls it bandusi, but it's like that. It's like this. Well, I'm saying Mexican bread, but it's like almost looks like a shell looking conch. I don't know what. I don't consider it a bread, but it feels like I eat those more than. I was surprised when I saw that Krispy Kreme place and umbrella. I need to get over there.
Do you know how to spell Pandusi? Because there's this stand-up comedian Rodriguez. He was real big. He was real big with all the Cheech and Chong movies.
Huh.
I can't even think of his name right now. Something Rodriguez. Oh God, it's gonna drive me nuts. He was on the Latin Kings of Comedy.
Pedro?
Huh?
No, it's not Pedro.
Nice.
Is it?
No.
Okay.
Paul Rodriguez.
Okay.
Alright, so he was talking about going to the funeral, and he's like, sometimes you hear somebody go, they don't even have Pandusi. Like he was joking about like how the funerals are totally different, and how people get pissed or cry at the funeral because they don't have a certain kind of food at their funeral. But that was the first time I heard of that, and I don't even know what the hell that is.
I'm looking at a picture of it. It's P-A-N-D. Well,
pan. That makes sense in Spanish. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So say it again.
So P-A-N and then space D-U-L-C-E.
Pandoce.
Bandusi.
Sweet bread.
Bandusi. I don't know how to say it, but that's how I say it.
Alright, so when you were saying Mexican bread, is this what you were talking about? Because I had a different bread in mind.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's like it fits the category, but then there's this other bread too that it's not sweet bread, but it's kind of sweet, but it's not. It's not as a dessert. It's like a bread. Like,
all right, so
you can make a sandwich out of it, but not this.
So sweet. So pan dolce. Anyway, this it says it literally means sweet bread, and it says a variety of Hispanic pastries, but it also says it was introduced by Spanish colonists. So settlers and immigrants. It was also influenced by old world cultures. Wow, notably from France. When you said Mexican bread, I kind of felt like you were talking about this. I wanted to say I call it Mexican sweet bread. But when you were saying Mexican bread and something good to cut open and throw meat, I was like, "Ugh, why would you do that?" And then I started thinking, you probably mean that football-shaped bread, right?
Yeah.
It's called like a boleto or something like that.
I didn't even look at the name, but yeah.
Some shit like that. Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about, is a Mexican... I guess I call it Mexican bread too, but... And I was actually studying Spanish today, and boleto is a ticket, so I'm not even sure what you call that fucking bread.
I don't know either, but
I feel like at a food city it was called boleto.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, feels like this is like instead of like getting Krispy Kreme, I eat these ones.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, not all the time, but if I see it, I'm gonna eat it.
I used to take my boy with me to it was the carniceria. It was the Mexican meat market because I liked getting their like they got to know me so well that they knew I was coming for marinated chicken. But my boy, I started taking him with me. It was like right at the beginning of the pandemic, so I was still taking him with me like public places. I still do every now and then, but like I really cut back on that. And he got used to asking for donuts because they had this really nice big display, and I got him one here and there. Like, hey, what do you want? Like I was spending a decent amount of money, but it was like celebrating for me. Like, oh, I'm gonna get some meat and I'm gonna get some dip and some chips.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And some tortillas. And so whenever we went, I'd be like, hey, what do you want, son? And he'd go right to that donut thing. And after a while, every time we went, he's like, could I have a donut? I'm like, all right, grab a fucking donut, son. Absolutely. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like now that I'm thinking about it, like, man, that was a nice little tradition for him and me to have. And like, sometimes I get in my own way of thinking for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, he's having too much sweets, or I'm giving him too much. Like I better watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I tell him no. Like he'll be like, hey Dad, can I have this? No. I'm like, no. But like I start thinking afterwards. I think like man, when I was a kid, whenever you got the thumbs up, it was this big deal. It was like, fuck yeah, like, yeah, like, please stop at McDonald's, and they stop, and they get all excited. Oh, I'm gonna get a toy or something. You know, there'd be excitement associated with it. And what's funny, in the beginning as a kid, it wasn't even about the food; it was the toy. You know, but it's a fucking food place. And we don't realize that as kids, I guess. It's just, I'm going to get a toy. And looking back, like thinking about him, like getting excited about a donut, I think it was more about getting the yes. You know what I mean? And sometimes I forget to do that, like to go along with that. Like, yes, son, you want a cookie? Have a cookie, man. Like, there are worse things he could get hooked on, you know. I'd be like, all right, well, go for it, son. Your dad says yes.
Yeah.
But I tell him no all the fucking time, and I forget the age he's at right now and how I felt as a kid then.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm kind of hard on him, like to do stuff the right way. And I think at some point when I was teaching him shit, he would just be like, I don't want to hear it. Like I think I get like a tone when I'm trying to teach him something. Like, no, you got to do it this way. Like, do it this way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like that, so he'll like after a while he wouldn't let me teach him anything. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm a bad father. I get all down on myself. But it's like I gotta remember there's you can easily be too hard on a kid. Like, as a kid, you look up to your parents, and any kind of judgment sometimes comes off like, I no longer like you. You're no longer a good kid. And it's like, no, you don't want your kid thinking you don't like them. So, yeah, the more I think about it, I'm like, that was a nice little tradition for him to get used to. Was we're going to the meat market, and he's going to get himself a donut. And no matter how I feel or how much money I have, I should make a point of making sure he gets his donut. I went off there a lot, but yeah. No, still kind of has to do with it.
I have many memories of going to the meat market as a kid. Whatever, planning for something, or just going to go. It's kind of and even just recently, I went to a meat market where There was one we used to go to a long time ago, and we stopped going. And we went, and it was like like a lot of stuff had changed, but it was still kind of the same setup, and it was still kind of like I mean, I don't mind going to a meat market in a grocery store, but a meat market where it's just by itself, you know, there's kind of the home, like mom and dad vibe. Some of them where it's not really about like, I guess I don't want to say the cost, but like more about what you're trying to go in there and get. Like, you know, if you're planning for a party, or the reason why we were there is for getting ready for anniversary, so a death anniversary. So it's like, you know, getting all the right meat. Yeah. And if you need menudo, get some. I mean, so it's just, I always remember going there, and so I mean, it's hearing you talk about taking your boy, like, even if you didn't get a donut, it's still like, I used to go with my pops to the meat market, you know, and even that smell, is the same. It's not a stench. It's not like gross, but it's just
it's meaty.
There's carnage in that behind these walls or something. So, I think sometimes you might be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, probably.
But then it's kind of it's a rough feeling when you feel, and you don't want to feel like you're making someone else feel horrible or maybe not so good, but it's just there's
a bunch of nights. Not every time. I'm not this big awful horrible person, but there's been quite a few nights where I just go like, I fucked up today. I need to do better tomorrow. I got mad at him over something small, like maybe spilling a drink all over the table. You know, I'll jump to it and get all mad, when really it's nothing. I spill drinks all the fucking time. Like, I've been building on this like theory of mine, or kind of like a concept that I've been working on, where I'm trying to find the line of what I want to teach my son and what I want him to not do. So, like, cussing's a tough one, because I cuss all the time. I cuss around him, I cuss at him, I cuss for him, I cuss on the phone. Like, I'm cussing all the time, all around him. And I'm sure, you know, it's going to come up. There was a few times where he cussed, and he was right. Like, he used it just right. And I laughed, and I was like, yeah, son, you're right. Like, that is some bullshit. Or so, I don't know when he said it. I can't even think of it specifically, but he was like, I think his mom told me once, like, he likes playing in the backyard, and he went to go out there, but it was like midsummer, and he went out there and said, it's too fucking hot out here, and he came back inside. And she's like, like, hey, but, that's funny, but don't say that. Like, you're gonna get in trouble your first year in school. Like, we're gonna get called for all the shit you say. So, like, I've been dealing with this because it's like, the concept or theory that I'm working on is like, half the shit we give kids shit for, we all totally do as adults. And, and nobody calls it on us. Like, hey, don't talk like that, or hey, don't do that. Like, now that we're adults, there's nobody to say, hey, don't do that. But, like, it's the same shit we give kids shit for. It's like, hey, don't do that. And we completely believe in it, and we say it to every kid, like, hey, don't fucking do that. Don't do that. You know, but the moment we think of them as an adult, it's totally fine, and they go about their lives and they do that. So there are some concepts that I'm like, should I even really push for him not to be like an adult? Because I'm sure my mom would tear me up on this subject. She'd be like, like, he's a kid, he needs to be a kid and all that. But I'm like, I want him to be prepared for adulthood. Like, there are a bunch of kids I grew up with that never grew up, and they still carry on their lives like they need their parents' opinion to do what they want to do. Like they haven't grown fully, and they're just like, I better ask my mom if it's okay if I can do this. And it's like, all right, well, you need to leave the nest or cut the cord, like you were talking about before. You need to cut this umbilical cord. And so yeah,
well,
I struggle with that. Huh?
It's the parent that needs to cut it.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm struggling with the idea of where to draw the line with him. Like there are some issues where you're like, hey, don't hit women. Like that's a line that you should draw and stick with it. You know, that's one of those hard line ones where you want to follow through with that. But like, there's others where it's like, don't cuss when you hear me cuss every hour at least.
Yeah,
don't do what I do, even though I do it all the time. Like, hey, don't drink.
Yeah.
But he's seen me drink. Like part of this tradition, I'm sure, of going to the meat market also meant that he'd see me cooking out and drinking a beer that evening. Like, it kind of went hand in hand with this thing.
Oh, the food.
Huh?
The taste, the food. I mean, it's all...
Yeah, no, like...
It's all a part of it.
It's like, hey, we're going to the meat market. And I'm sure his mind's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get a donut. And that's cool. Like, I never really thought about it until, like, after. But it's like, yeah, I want him to, like when I would go to the gate, the Coroquis with my old man, when I go, I knew I was getting one of those Mexican sodas. Mm-hmm. I usually got like the Fanta, the orange drink.
Oh yeah.
Naranja. I would get the orange drink, the orange soda, or the Coke. We'd either get Cokes or the orange soda, or a Sprite. I guess there was 3 of them that we usually got, and that was it. Like, if we were going to the thing, I'm sure my dad was up to something else when he was there. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, he went for the beers and maybe something else. But we'd always say, we're going to go get some cheese. Mm-hmm. But, like, he was usually rolling with his homies, and they usually got, like, a bottle. They'd be sitting there, and they'd get a bottle, they'd get some beehives, and they'd drink beers, and I'd be sitting there just completely happy and oblivious drinking my soda. And we were there, quote unquote, for cheese, right? Yeah. We were there for cheese, but really he was there to party, and I only know that now. So what's cool is, like you said, you have a memory now too of going to the meat market. Well, for my son, it was like, hey, we're going to the meat market. He's gonna get a donut. Dad's gonna get some meat, and then Dad's gonna probably be drinking around a fire tonight, cooking it up, and then we're gonna have a good meal tonight, like a real meal where there's like meat that's been grilled on the fire, not like fucking heated up in a package.
There's a different vibe to grilling.
Yeah, and we'll be outside because most nights he was with me, we were just inside. Mm-hmm. So on a cookout night, I'd have my chairs outside the apartment right there on the road. I'd have the grill there, and sometimes my buddies would come over from next door, or I'd call people like, hey, come over here. I'm going to have some beers and some meat. I think it was usually like payday, and I'd be getting my son for the weekend. So it's like, that was a tradition. And it had donuts in it. So, for him, meat market and donuts.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think the way maybe he saw it is like, I'm gonna get the chance to ask for a donut.
Yeah. Like, he knows what's in there.
Yeah. So
we'd pull up and he'd be like, Dad, can I get a donut? I'm like, yeah, boy, go for it. Yeah, he knew in the parking lot. He got to the point where he recognized the building.
Nice. Yeah, you got me thinking of all the meat market times. But I even remember when I was going to middle school in town, there was this meat market at the corner of kind of around the spot where the school was. And it wasn't a place we always went to, but like I don't ever think meat markets will go out of. I mean, talking about meats, we were talking about it last week. But yeah, I mean, just those pastimes of going places with your parents, and not always. Maybe not going the way you want it to go, but like still knowing that you're going to get to go and get a shot at it as a kid. Yeah. Because I remember there was like stuff I wanted, but like I'd be like, nah, you ain't getting that. Like, yeah. So I mean, it wasn't always like you get what you want, but it was still. I know, yeah. Like I think, yeah, we're getting food for later, and the food's gonna be good. So, yeah, I remember there was a short time when I was going to the meat market at Super. I stopped going there, but only because they were saying that someone said there was a bomb threat there. Shit. To another Super? It was on the news, yeah.
That just sounds like a hate crime because it's like a cornerstone of the community.
Yeah. Well, this was pre-pandemic when they were saying this was going down, but yeah, like their meat market is pretty big their meat market section is pretty big to where it kind of still has that meat market vibe, but yeah, I was getting shrimp, not meat, but shrimp. But yeah, when that happened, but yeah, like in different, feels like certain times in my life, I'm buying the food or going getting the food, but other times I'm not a part of it, which is just how it is. But yeah, I was going to, maybe I should go check it out again.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I don't want to bring it back to the meat, so why are we talking about meat? How did we get here?
I'm looking at the Mexican, the pan dote.
Oh, okay.
And that's usually what they had at that meat market, was these types of breads.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna bring up this doesn't have anything to do with donuts either, but I was gonna bring up how as a kid it was pretty hard to not want something as you're waiting in line to, like, in the cash register, and there's all the candy displays like all around there. It's all set up to get you to buy your kid something or to snag something. I think when I was still at Lowe's or Home Depot, it was like about what do they call it? I think it's spontaneous purchase. There was a certain category for it, and it was all stuff that was put on display, like quick access, quick reach, where right at the last second you just grab it. And that was, I think a lot of times it's focused at children, but like at a hardware store, it's probably quick grab for a contractor. And you were talking about whether or not you get something. And I remember we used to have to avoid the toy aisle and the cereal aisle.
Oh yeah.
Like, that was one of those aisles that kind of got me worked up as a kid. And I was like, oh, let me get this, let me get this, like, let me get something. They're like, fuck no, like, you're getting this because I like it too. And I was like, all right, you know, or those are all too sugary, so we're gonna get this, you know. And I'm not a big fan of Lucky Charms. I used to want it for the marshmallows, but like if you take all the marshmallows out of it, it's not that enticing a cereal. Like it's like kind of sugared wheat things. And like I remember the first couple of times I gave my son Lucky Charms, he was just eating all the marshmallows out of it. And I think I did too as a kid, you know. And then I wasn't too interested in the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done, Dad. And I'd be like, what about all the rest of this? And he already picked it clean, like, no more marshmallows. Or he'd look at it again, like, oh, I missed one. Like, all right, let me get that. Like, I missed one marshmallow. I'm not going to eat the rest of this. So I just stopped buying it completely. But, like, that's the thing. Like donuts are a treat. Like, anytime you have donuts, it kind of, especially, like, we usually get them when there's like we're all there, and that usually means we're gonna have like a big breakfast together. We're gonna actually cook it up. It's not gonna be simple. We're gonna have meats and sides and eggs and probably donuts. You know, like it's a treat. It's an addition to whatever you're doing, and it kind of improves what you're having.
I like the dipping it in my coffee.
Hell yeah. You know the dunking sticks?
The dunking sticks.
I think they're made by Little Debbie. They're basically like a glazed stick, and they're kind of really lumpy. And all it is it's like cake. It's like yellow cake batter with glaze on it.
Nah, but it sounds good.
They're freaking delicious. They're dunking sticks, I think is what they're called. That was a big one we used to get, and I don't even know if you can call that a donut.
You still get them?
Yeah, no. Anytime I see them, I think the original, like a glazed cake donut, is what they're made of. Like it's regular cake mix, and then it's brown, and then it's glazed. And I think when you order them from like a Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, you ask for the cake donut, a glazed cake donut, and they're usually chocolate or regular. And that's what the Dunkin' stick is. It's a very heavy. It's kind of like a very heavy cake mix, and then that's what I would love to dip in like milk or coffee. What's funny is I probably wouldn't drink coffee if I hadn't first started dipping stuff in it, like wanting the sweet, like a real sugary and creamer coffee. As a kid, you know, that's what really got me drinking it in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a good combo.
Yeah, definitely. Donuts and coffee. Sweets, cookies and coffee, dunkers, whatever they're called.
Duo of the century.
Yeah, definitely.
What about, what is your favorite donut?
Alright, that's what I thought you were asking me in the begining. And then I was like, what do you think about this? And it was police and freaking meth coming out of your Krispy Kremes. I think that is my favorite, the cake one. When I usually order it, I'm always grateful. Like if my dad's usually the one who buys us donuts. And just because that's what he wants for breakfast. Like if he's spending the night in town, he'll get donuts. Or like my mom, if she's trying to like looking for something to treat him, she'll get him donuts. And if you ask for like a variety, I always hope the glazed cake donut ends up in there. I was all disappointed as fuck. The last time I went to a Dunkin' Donuts, I asked for the cake donut. And they're like regular, and I was like, I think so, yeah. And we got home, and there were those fucking, the plain donut. The kind of shit that you find at an AA meeting, like there's no glaze, there's no sugar, it's just, I think it's just straight up cake batter, if that, like lightly sugared cake batter.
Yeah, very.
I used to hate those as a kid.
They're still good, but yeah.
They're around, but they're garbage, man. I hate them. Like, as a kid, I hated them, and now as an adult, I'm like stigma'd. There's a stigma there. I can't eat them.
Look, I don't really see those ones.
They're there. I guess you gotta ask. I asked for them and didn't know I was asking for them. When I got home, I was so pissed. I opened the box, and I got like... They said, oh, you pick 4, I'll pick 4, and I'll pick 4. I was like, cool, a dozen. And I asked for those, and we got home, and I had 4 of those regular fucking donuts, and I was like, oh, you bastards. They got me. They got me with that regular question. What I wanted was the glazed cake donut. They're usually kind of like, they look like they've been knotted up. They're still a ring like a traditional donut, but they look like they have like a swirl on them, like a wave. That's the cake donut. That's my favorite.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. They kind of have like a corrugation to them.
Okay, yeah. Now sometimes I'm in the mood for those, but like, I mean,
what's your favorite?
I was gonna say, I think maple.
Ooh, okay.
It's not the circle. It's the
cruller, the long one.
Yeah, what do you call them? What's that term?
I want to say it's a bear claw, but I'm sure people are gonna give me shit about that. I think it's called a cruller. Damn it, I gotta look it up.
The bear claw is the brown-looking one.
Really?
I thought so.
God damn it, I gotta know now, bro. I gotta know. I'm pulling it up right now. I gotta know. Cruller. Oh shit. Okay, alright, if you got Google open, the donut that I like is a cruller. Cruller. A small cake made of rich, sweetened dough, twisted or curled, and fried in deep fat. So I guess my favorite donut's the cruller.
Oh,
it looks like a construction tire.
Mm.
It's got like the deep ridges on it. That's my favorite donut.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That one's my
favorite. A good one with coffee. That one's a good one with coffee.
Yes, it is. So I didn't even know. Like, I'm 35, and I didn't know that my favorite donut's a cruller. All right, from now on, I'm asking for a cruller. Holy shit, that's an epiphany at 35 about donuts that I just had right here on the show. I love crullers. That's my favorite donut.
I wonder if what is it, like?
Bear cruller is a bear.
I mean, I wonder if they're like.
Okay.
Shot through a different tunnel or something, or what? That's how they get out.
I think they twist them. Alright, so check it out. What you described as the bear claw, which I think... I thought the lawn donut was called the cruller or a bear claw, but the bear claw is the apple fritter.
Oh, okay. Alright, now we're getting somewhere.
Oh no, this is saying it's usually filled with almond paste and sometimes raisins.
Yeah.
And often shaped in a semicircle with slices along the curved edge. A bear claw may also be a yeast donut in a shape similar to that of the pastry. So yeah, what do you call them then? The lawn one. Give me a lawn donut.
It has a term, I know it.
So I think my close second would be, as a kid, I used to like the cream filled, not cream, but like either cherry or lemon filled donut.
Oh, okay.
That was my favorite.
I wasn't always a fan of the filling ones.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think over time when you're like you're more picky when you're younger, but like, it's still a donut. But yeah, that won't be the first one I grab with the filling.
Oh shit!
There's not one that will. You find it?
Yeah, I did. But I'm curious what you're saying. You're saying you would avoid them as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the regular donut, the circle donut, but like if there was cream ones, I would like, maybe because of the certain fillings, you know. I like the banana, but not the, like, I don't think I like raspberry.
The cream, there's a cream-filled one that I don't think is too appetizing.
But
banana's good though. That was a good call.
It's kind of like the chocolate, where you're just grabbing something, you don't really know what's inside of it, and it might be not so good.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like it, but so with those donuts, it's like, I might not like the middle part.
Yeah, it was almost like a draw. You don't know what the hell is going to be in there. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you can see in the hole where they filled it, like a little bit coming out, and you know what's in there. But I've bitten into those suckers and got immediately turned off when it was a different filling. Like, oh fuck, like
yeah.
I keep thinking of Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. Yeah. You never know what the hell's in those, and that makes them like a toss up. Like if you take a plus I'm one of those guys where it's like, hey, I tell my kid if you bite it, you eat it. I don't want you like biting something and then putting it back.
Yeah.
So all right, so check it out. The Long John. The definition calls it a Long John.
Oh, okay.
But it says in the U.S. it's called a eclair. So when I was trying to say the cruller, I was trying to say eclair.
Huh.
So a chocolate or maple eclair is the one with the lawn. It's a lawn pastry.
Ooh.
But the original. Like I just typed in what is the name of a lawn donut, and it says Long John. The American Long John donut is a yeasted donut cut into a rectangle. Its oblong shape is sometimes in the U.S. called an eclair or an eclair donut after the French pastry.
Mm.
So I guess the French pastry is lawn too. Wikipedia is calling it the Long John. It's a bar-shaped yeast-risen pastry like a donut.
But it could be an eclair too.
I think if you were asking for what you just described, the maple donut with the lawn one, it would be an eclair.
Mm.
A maple eclair.
Oh, okay.
So that's your favorite?
Yeah, I think that's one I would go for. I mean, but like, I like I'm looking at pictures now of the sugar one. There's a donut velocity.
Oh, you got one? I was actually gonna look that up. I was like, I wonder if I could see an entire list of donuts here. We could just go through it.
Well, they have a cinnamon roll, which is
in the donut section. I don't think they belong there.
Well, maybe.
But I guess that makes me a donut snob.
Well, I think they started out in the donut category, but they kind of grew their own.
They went solo.
Yeah. They got and I actually we did this thing, and we still do it when we used to have practice where we would someone would try to shoot a half-court shot or an impossible shot, and it'll be like Dutch Bros or Starbucks and Cinnabon. Yeah, Cinnabon.
So you'd be like, Cinnabon if I get it.
Yeah. One of the kids hit this half-court shot, and I still owe a Cinnabon. But yeah.
Get it one. What are you doing? You're a welcher, man. You're a welcher. You lost that bet.
Well, Cinnabon is like in the bar. I'm not in the bar.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, where the hell do you get one? I was thinking the airport. Like, I can't even think of where you get it. I guess.
Oh yeah, no, they're not really a big.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Sky. I'm gonna ask you from now on in every episode. We're gonna start the episode, and I'm gonna ask if you got that kid. It's fucking. And you're gonna be on blast because you put me on blast so many times on this fucking like, hey, when are you gonna release the episode? When we first started, you're like, when are you gonna release it? I'm like, fuck, I'll do it, I swear. So I got you, Sky. I got your number, and I'm gonna ask you every time. Did you fucking pay your bet? you took the bet, and don't get into that like, oh, I didn't shake on it. Like, bullshit. Get that kid his Cinnabon.
All right. Hey, they call this one a maple bar.
A maple bar. So you're looking at a glossary, is what you said?
Well, it's a picture. Yeah, it's a
donut.
It's an image of a donut glossary, but.
Oh wow. Oh, that's badass. All right, we're going. We're doing this.
Apple fritters are good.
I'm taking the dive here. Ooh. Whoa. I'm trying to find one with names on it as well.
You like churros?
Huh?
You like churros? Or churros?
Yeah, churros. You mean a churro? Yeah, bro, I do.
That sounded like a white dude.
Yeah.
You like churros?
A churro. I'm trying to find the image here. There's a badass. Okay, here we go. Is it on there? Do you see the churro on there?
No, well, there was the other one I was looking at.
I'm all careful on how I say it now. Like,
churro? I call it a churro. But
churro, yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Alright, so check it out.
Emphasis on the R's.
The glossary I'm looking at calls what I was talking about a glazed cake donut. A glazed old is what they call it. Glazed old cake donut.
I think that's what I'm looking at, yeah. Well,
does it say does it start in red writing, donut glossary, and then in red writing it says raised donut?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're on the same page here. It says Donut Worry, Arizona? Do not worry, Arizona.
Oh, yeah,
Love it. That's a great name. What the hell is that? A malasada. Malasada.
Malasada.
Okay, so apparently I don't see the crawler.
Really?
So I think what I like preferably is the.
I think it's not a cake donut.
Where?
The glazed old. I think that's the one you're talking about.
Well, that's the one I was talking about, but the crawler is similar, but I don't think it's the same batter. I like them. I like them both. I think what I was thinking was the glazed old.
Yeah.
All right. On this episode, I'm gonna put this glossary up as the image, the main image. This shit is on.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I'm looking at the filled, the raspberry glaze, the lemon filled, the cream filled, the Boston cream, and apple filled.
There was this one spot.
Maple bar. Yeah, okay. What spot?
Well, first I think of the Chinese buffets, and they have this like bread that's like really well, it's sugary, but it's like very light, kind of.
Kind of flaky or crispy.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of donut-esque.
I wonder what that's called. So, I was also thinking a close second was the crumb, the one that's crumbed, or the toasted coconut. I'm a fan of coconut. You're one of those guys that doesn't like certain things that you eat. How do you feel about coconut? Like, coconut's one of those weird things where people fall left or right. They either really like it or they hate it.
I rock with the coconut.
You like coconut?
You know what? I mean, not to get off the donuts, but the coconut shrimp, you know, when they use the batter.
Yeah,
that's some bomb.
No, that is bomb.
I like coconut.
I'll eat those Mexican bars, and it's just like red, white, and green, and it's just coconut with probably some shit held to keep it together.
Oh yeah.
I love those, man. That's good. The glazed twist, the cinnamon twist, the apple fritter. You know, I think the crawler is my favorite. Are you sticking with maple bar? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, I don't really discriminate as much as I used to, because I remember when I was working at my old job, like when they would bring in, it was kind of like sometimes you would bring in donuts, sometimes someone else would, but it was always like a nice gesture to the office. Yeah, someone bring donuts, and then other times, you know, someone might bring some, and there'll be still some left. Maybe the ones that no one wanted. Yeah. So, like, I like where you're going with this. There was this point where everyone got a donut. There's still some left. I'm not gonna let this donut go to waste. So
you can't, bro.
I'm
not. A travesty.
I'm not being picky this round, you know. Like whatever I get, you know. Yeah. You notice how your shit changes when there's a full box.
Yeah, you're all snobby as fuck. So, like, man, fuck that donut. I don't want that kind. Who got this shit? And then at the end, you're like, oh, that's all that's left. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, okay, continue. Go ahead, sorry.
So I mean, you can't be picky because it's just what's left is what's left. So and I think that's where I got more open to trying the ones I wouldn't go for first. Yeah. You know, because I think there's that's that. Like, I was gonna say a wheat one or like this. You know, have you ever had like there's so many different toppings now that I see them. I've seen bacon.
Yeah.
I've seen cereal.
Have you gone to that one place on I want to say Fort Low?
No.
It's one of those fancy donut spots. I want to say her name's Daisy, and it's like Daisy's Donuts or. Fuck, somebody out there listening is going to call me on this. It's Dee Dee's Donuts, or what the fuck was it called? Have you had that? Like a fancy-ass donut?
No. I don't think so, but I've seen pictures. No. But I want to say I have tried one with bacon, though. It just...
and your thoughts?
I mean, I love bacon.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't...
Do you like it on your donut, though?
I wasn't complaining. but again, it's not like it's something available all the time, so... Well, at least for me, because, I mean, Bash is like to get a more fresher donut. Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because it's like, what is your opinion on donuts that are packaged, that are made, you know, that are wrapped, that are like
they're not made that
from
day?
The bakery. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like where you're taking this. All right, so I'm gonna come back here because there's a few other things, but I'm definitely gonna get into this. All right. You know, do you know the name of the ones where they come and there's like 6 of them and they're little and they're all like prepackaged? Hostess. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I feel like it's another brand.
It might be.
They're almost always like at the fucking register where I usually saw them. I used to get those a lot. Those were fucking bomb. The little coconut crumbed ones.
Yeah. I think those are my favorite ones out of those.
Yeah, it is. But like as a kid, I wanted the powdered donut ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like now when I get them, it's like a treat. It's like, all right, I'll get one of those. Like when I was working at Lowe's, we had a vending machine in the break room. We had like a couple of them. There was a vending machine and then a couple drink ones. And they'd have every now and then, like they would put desserts in there, but it wouldn't be consistent. And they had the Dunkin' sticks, which I got every time I saw them. And then they had those 6 donuts in a package. And I would get those as like a treat, you know. It was like payday week. I would get paid on like a Thursday or a Wednesday night at midnight, and since I worked overnight, I'd still be in there, and my check would be dropping, and I'd usually get like those little packages. I think if you're on the go, a prepackaged donut is cool. Like I want to say Little Debbie makes that, like, you know, the bag that's resealable.
Oh yeah,
it's got like the wire in it, and you fold it back up. What is that?
That's not Hostess.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though.
I like those too, but like seriously, there's nothing like a fresh donut. Especially Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts a close second.
Wow.
You ever have a donut from like a smaller joint and they're greasy?
Yeah.
Like you eat it and there's like a film in your mouth after you eat it? Yeah.
That's I'm trying to think of this. I think it's the donut where the boxes are pink.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'll see the grease
grease coming through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are good too. I'm talking like I'm talking like a joint that like either they didn't get their temperature right. I think that's what does it. Is they cook them and the temperature's too low, so the grease stays on it.
Oh, I don't know.
That's usually my judging point lately. Now that I'm older and experienced with my years of donut experience, I'm like I don't like a greasy donut. So like if I get a donut at a shop and it's greasy, I'm like, oh fuck this place. Like this isn't where I'm gonna get donuts. Cause it's funny, like almost all, as far as I know, all donuts are deep fried. But some you can tell and some you can't. You know, like a Krispy Kreme is oily, but it doesn't do that to you. It doesn't, like they got their production line set, so the temperature's set, and it cooks well, and the grease just falls off.
Whoa!
I guess this is a I think I'm only focused on it now, and I'm so serious about it. You say whoa, but I think it's because all my life of cooking, I've only just recently started like researching cooking. So like I've been watching videos and all that, and like temperature and deep frying. Like I've been practicing popovers. And if you don't got the temperature right, you can tell they cook differently. Like I love me a thick popover that's all meaty and fleshy. I don't like it when it's been stretched so thin that it crumbles when you try to fold it. It cracks and breaks. I don't like that. So like, I'm learning, like if I'm going to be cooking popovers, I want them to be a certain way. So I started practicing and researching it. And I think that's why my yeast bread's so good. I've practiced it and researched it and like took my time, and now I got it down.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm really terrible at chumas. Like, I can't make chumas. Like, I make them and they come out, like, really thick spots on them, and they're, like, really burned, or they're too thin in a bunch of areas. So I'm still working out that recipe. And I think deep frying for donuts is same kind of practice. You gotta take it serious to do it right.
Yeah.
And I think Krispy Kreme, they got their assembly line down. It got really quiet. Like the headphone, we're not laughing, we're not doing anything. It just got real. It got too real just now.
Because in my head I'm thinking, when you're talking about like the temperature and you gotta find it right, and it has to be on point for the donut to come out right. But like, in my mind I always think of like the elevation.
Oh yeah, boiling water and all that. Yeah.
And like even now, like the newer models of machinery, like I think of the oven, the stove. Like we got a new stove, like maybe about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like it cooked hotter than the other stove we had before.
Oh yeah. And
it was a newer model, and you know they're getting more high tech with appliances now, and you know there's different. Pretty sure there's new technology that they're using, but to me it just seemed like the temperature is hotter than the other one, or it's able to get hotter faster, but yet I don't know. Again, so finding that.
No, I totally understand.
Temperature, but also like where you're at, kind of also might kind of maybe play a part in that. Yeah. Once I was clueless growing up, like never thought of anything like that. Wasn't until later when I found out, like in certain areas you don't really got to cook things as what the box says. Like kind of might have to do your own little measurements.
Well, what I learned just recently up here is the one in Coalfields versus, like, I'm here in Tucson at the Tucson house, and our stove is really efficient here. You try to preheat the oven, and like in five minutes it's preheated. Where the one in Coalfields, you tell it to preheat, and it goes and goes and goes. You never know until you hear that beep when it's going to be preheated. And that makes a difference when I'm making my bread. Like I'm really efficient at making my bread now, so when I gotta wait on the fucking stove to get ready, it's a problem. But I learned that if I stick to the numbers on the box here in town, I'll burn whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Like especially a pizza, you want the pizza to not be overcooked. They always say this time or until golden brown. And the same thing goes with my bread. Like I noticed up here, if I do the regular times, like I have a system now set that's based on Coalfields. And when I do it here, my bread gets kind of way darker, and I need to be careful of it. And then I also noticed with a dark pan, like I got these new like silver aluminum pans that are real clean. They're brand new, and like I love cooking on them because they make like a soft, very round yeast bread. And I used to prefer this really deep pan that I used to have, and they would make them. They'd press together, and they'd have like the sheer edge where they touch that doesn't get browned. It just gets. They have like a torn surface when you pull them apart. And I've gone from preferring that to the way I cook them now, where they're round and kind of flat on a pan. And I noticed we didn't have enough of those silver pans, so I tried cooking a few of them on a dark pan, and they burnt like a motherfucker. They were in the same temperature, same time, and when I pulled them out, they were burnt on the bottom, black on the bottom. And it was because the pan was darker. I didn't realize that would even be a factor. It just drew more heat and burnt the shit out of my bread. And I want to put it online right now on this episode. I don't sell no burnt bread. All right, so I may have in the past. Somebody might call me on that, but I will not sell burnt bread. So there you go. I just want that on the record here. I don't sell burnt bread.
All right, note it.
All right, people, note that. Note that right now. Now you know.
Yeah. I always remember this one time when I worked at it was called Kyoto, and the guy.
What was it?
It's Kyoto. It was like a Japanese place.
Oh, okay.
We talked about it before, but when somebody would order something, the guy would just pretty much know how to measure it with the frying pan. Like,
oh yeah,
like this frying pan makes like a medium, whatever. So like, he had this frying pan that was kind of like, he was using it for everything, and he'll wash it out, and the next person will come and he'll chop it up, do everything in that one pan.
Yeah.
And he just kept using it, and one day the manager brought him a new one.
Oh shit.
And she was like, "Hey, here's I got you some new ones. You don't have to use these old ones anymore."
Oh shit.
And he just kind of like looked at it, and he kind of put it to the side. And later on, I said, why aren't you using your new ones? We think because it's new, hasn't been used before, that it's gonna be better, it's gonna be more. I don't know what we think, why, but like, he was like, it's not good.
Yeah.
He just kept, that was our, cause he was the guy that spoke, pretty much only Spanish, few broken English statements, but like, that was pretty much what it was like, no good, no bueno. It was like, it's no good, and he just kept saying it was no good, and finally, I got the manager to ask him in Spanish and kind of explain. He went on talking, and she said that the pan still has the flavors.
Oh.
And he doesn't want to try to bring in new equipment that could interfere with what he knows is going to come out good already because of the pan.
Like, nice.
Like, this pan already has so much good meals on it that it's almost like I'm not giving up on it, and regardless if there's a new one, it's not going to have what this has.
Interesting.
And it made sense. I wasn't bothering him about it after that. I'm like, alright, well, I wonder when you're going to use the new one. I mean, eventually it does got to get broken in,
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but maybe that's where my culinary skills end, because I'm not always thinking like that.
Yeah, that's like a iron skillet. It has a season on it. My mom brings that up all the time. Like, I was just gonna talk about how she would bitch about how we clean the pan. But yeah, like you would just wipe it out. You would never wash it. You just kind of wipe it out and leave whatever has been burnt on there, and then the next meal comes out better because it has that. I've never managed to pull that off. I would like to act like I'm a good cook and I could pull that shit off. I've never really, like, I've had a few iron skillet pans where they would cook and not stick, and that was a good season. It had a good season on it. And then I try to use someone else's iron skillet, and shit just burns to it. My eggs are all stuck on the bottom, and you can't get nothing off, so nothing's cooking right. And next thing you know, you're just kind of adding burnt egg smell to your fresh eggs. So there's a difference. I've never managed to I've worked with seasoned pans and they worked beautifully, and then there's been pans where we probably washed it and fucked that all up, you know, like use soap on it. They say don't use any strong soaps on it, and they definitely ruined it. So yeah, I feel that guy. I understand that guy. Like I can respect the cook that tracks that pays attention to that.
Yeah,
that's a respectable thing. That actually means he takes his job seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell when somebody takes the job serious, like when their food comes out and you eat it, how it's displayed, how it tastes. You can tell when somebody takes pride in their work, and I appreciate that in a cook, for sure.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, bruh. All right, we've gone off the rails again. I'm here to report that. I wanted to ask. So back to the sopapilla. Just like you mentioned about going to the meat market, we used to eat at Casa Molina. We used to eat there all the time. Now we don't. As a family, we avoid it. But like back in the day, we used to eat there all the time. Like there was a specific one. I don't even know where it's at. I think it's on the corner of Swan and Speedway. Anyway, it's a place we used to always go to, and like they used to have this little flag. Like when you order sopapillas, you just put the flag up, and someone would show up and give you more. So like I used to love that as a kid, you know, have like this little apparatus. I'd eat the sopapilla, and then I'd raise the next part. I'd raise the flag. That was one of those things I looked forward to. I seriously wanted to ask you again. Would you call that a pastry? As not a donut? The sopapilla. It was like a pillow. It was almost like I would say it was more like a popover than a sweet. You could put meat on it and it would be good, or you could throw honey on it, which I was used to, honey and powdered sugar.
Yeah.
On a sopapilla.
Oh no, I mean, you just reminded me of this one. I think that's what it was. But they throw powdered sugar on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I first, this takes me back, but it was sucks because I think the place closed. Or maybe it just had bad food reviews.
We might be talking about the same place.
The Greasy Tony's?
Oh, dude. Okay, that's a whole other story, yeah.
Okay.
I love Greasy Tony's, too. I miss it.
I don't know if that's what it was in Tempe. It was this pizza shop. You know, it was very,
sketchy?
I don't know. It was like those don't exist no more. Or maybe they do, but it's just like, you know, everything's so commercialized now. But there's this pizza shop that, you know, where they actually like sell the salad by the slice, and you know, they got the big oven going. But I remember one time we're like, you know, what's something sweet here? Like, what's something, you know, that's not pizza, but I mean that's a dessert, you know. And they made those. They're like little. They're almost like garlic knots, but the dough is just thrown in, or a funnel cake or something. But and then they were like just throw it in a bag of powdered sugar and just shake it around, and you just have these little, I don't know what you would call them, like mini churros. Churros. But it reminded me of a popover, but it was just strange because they gave it to us in this like big brown paper bag. And
tell me it was soaked through
with the grease.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was just I mean, I remember when we first got it, and it was like, this is we're gonna be back, you know. But I don't see that anymore. I don't. That'd be nice for maybe to try to make them. Do you deep fry anything, or?
Like I said, I've been practicing popovers, and the bread that my dad taught me was the poor man's bread, and that's kind of deep fried. Like it's more, you put a thin layer of oil on the pan, and then you fry it. You fry this like big. It's thicker than a pancake, and it's the batter is basically like a pancake batter, but a little thicker, and that's how you cook it. You cook it in a pan of oil. And that's basically all I've deep fried. Like that's the main extent of my deep frying. I even did I was doing homemade fries for a while. But like the way I cut them, I always had like really sharp ass fries, and I'd stab myself with them, and like it wasn't good. I think I tried baking them, and they just came out kind of rubbery, not so good. And when I was doing, like there was a little while where I was trying to set up with my buddy. I was trying to team up with him, and we were gonna do a food truck. But like it turned out like me and him weren't good partners together. Like we probably could have pulled it off, but we weren't playing by the book. Which I'm sure our coffee friends out there would frown on. We didn't have an LLC. We were just kind of showing up and trying to sell food. And when I was working with him, when we were kind of imagining the job, the business, we were sending each other's recipes back and forth. And the one thing that stuck with me was this guy who was talking about deep frying chicken. And like when you bread your own chicken, I always had a problem of it like falling off, and it wasn't like it never came out like you would expect in a store. Yeah. Or like KFC or Church's, whatever. Like their bread stays on there and it's all flavorful. Yeah, all perfect. Well, this guy said the trick. This guy was teaching the trick was to rack them, to dry them between soaks. Like you would soak them and bread them, and then you'd put them on a rack and let them dry for 10 minutes, and then you would batter them again, and do it again. You let it dry. And that was his this is the secret, people. You let them dry, and then when you go to stick them in the oil, the bread is set up. The skin, the dough, the breading is so set up because you let it dry that when you go to throw it in the oil, it stays on. So I don't deep fry chicken anymore, but when I did it that way, damn, it fucking came out bomb. Nice. I think I even tried when I was working on that recipe. I did a country fried steak, and it was the same way. Like I breaded it myself, and it came out fucking bomb. It came out real bomb. And then I haven't made it since because the last time I got that like cubed steak, like the first one came out so well. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make the next group. And I went out and got the real cube steak, like it's already been hammered with that like mallet, and it's got all the like indentions and cuts in it from being smashed out. And that's usually what they throw in a country fried steak. Like I'm a big country fried steak fan, and when I got that meat, I let it go so long in my fridge that it went bad, and that's a big no-no for me. I don't like letting meat go bad in the fridge. Like that's a waste. Yeah. And I did that with that, so I haven't made it since. But like that, because of that, that was kind of the end of my frying days. I still make bomb ass popovers, and I still make poor man's bread because that's just in my repertoire. Yeah. Like if I'm looking to cook for the night, sometimes I'll do Indian tacos. Or like if I come home and my family's making beans, poor man's bread you can cook in like half an hour. You can make it from scratch and make it in half an hour, and it's kind of.
And you gotta teach me that.
Yeah. So when somebody has beans, I love making poor man's bread because you can dip it. Like you dip it in the juice and fucking eat it, and you can kind of cut it open down the middle and stuff beans in there. So good. But that's where my frying stops. Do you have a frying recipe? Something you deep fry?
No, but there's a guy that comes to sell. I think his main his big sign is barbecue, but it's like a lot of stuff is like, I think it's like pulled pork. But he also has shrimp, fried shrimp, and you know I love shrimp. You know I like the battered shrimp. You know, so I wanted to see what the shrimp was like, and you know, but I was kind of hesitant because I was like, I wonder, you know, how's this? Because you know there's bring fresh shrimp. You know, it's kind of it's not really a normal thing people sell. You know, so I was just kind of wondering what's this shrimp gonna be like? Yeah. You know, did he really cook it and stuff? And he just
where was it? Who was it?
The Plaza, the Bashers Plaza.
Oh,
but they have vendors.
And somebody there has shrimp.
Yeah,
I'd be terrified. Like, where's the nearest ocean to the res there? I'd be like, oh shit, is it good?
Yeah. I mean, so that's what I was gonna say is.
Sorry.
He had his own batter.
Oh, okay.
And,
nice.
And then he threw the fresh shrimp in there, and he made it himself, and then he deep fried it, and it was fresh from there. Nice. I've never had it like that. Like, I mean, I have, but not so just like, hey, I made it here. It's usually like at Lucky Wishbone. Or, yeah, I think that's the main place where I get shrimp as Lucky Wishbone. But like,
yeah. I haven't ate there in a long time.
This guy's shrimp was actually pretty awesome. Cool. But, yeah, that was the last, I mean, thinking of bread and stuff, I think of that.
When's the last time he was out there? Like, is he still going out there?
Yeah. I think he's out there on Wednesdays.
Cool.
Fridays.
Alright, well, I'm gonna have to try that out. You got me thinking of another experience I have with a frying. And I worked for a Mexican restaurant when I was down in Ajo. One of the only Mexican restaurants down there.
What was it? Is it Marcelo's?
Yeah, or is it? I thought it was Maria's. It could have been Marcelo's. It's an M name, and it's the only one down there.
Okay.
I think the owner's name is Marcella, and it's called Maria. Maria's.
Are you sure?
It's like a small.
Yeah, I know
Mexican restaurant. There's only one there. There's only one.
Yeah, I call it Marcellus.
All right. All right.
Maybe there's a lady there named Maria.
Fuck, I feel like it's called Maria and the owner's name was Marcel. She was mean, man. She was mean. Like everybody's butthole puckered up when they knew she was in the building. She was scary. Anyway, but I guess that's how you run a business. You gotta be feared.
Oh yeah.
You gotta be the overlord to make sure shit goes right. Because I loved eating there. We used to order burgers, which is kind of weird to order from a Mexican restaurant, but they did it right.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's not weird. I think it's normal.
Yeah, well, I got to work there, and I was in the kitchen, and I started there, to make my bread. I told her, hey, like, I would like to make bread, but, what a lot of people were pushing for in Ajo was that it would be that if you're going to sell food, you got to have it made in a industrial kitchen, commercial kitchen. You can't. I was making it in my kitchen at home, and once I started getting a little more public with my bread, people started asking, like, where are you making this? I was like, oh, okay. And so I started searching for a place that I could cook and sell it publicly. And she was one of the places that took me. She tried. I brought her my bread, and she tried it, and she let me work there. And she started asking me, well, what else can you make? I can't just sell your bread. I was like, I can make anything you want. And she's like, well, I need pastries. I need cookies. Can you do that? I was like, all right, yeah, I can do that. So I was chilling in the back making shit, and at some point she started putting me on the grill in the mornings. And that was, like, I stopped making bread because it wasn't, like, I guess not enough people knew about it. So we were throwing more bread away than selling it. So she started putting me on the grill, and that's when I started learning, like, that was probably the first time I ever handled a commercial griddle and a deep fryer. And that was probably one of the other things I learned there was the first of all, they made all their chips in-house, but all they do is they take a big stack, like they buy like those giant packs of corn tortillas, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then they just cut them into quarters and then deep fry them. Just chuck them all. Like, somebody would come in and do that. Like, that was their job. They'd show up with a giant knife and they'd cut it into quarters, take those tortillas and they'd just dump them in the fryer, then take them out and put them in, like, a paper-lined basket, like a big one, salt it, and then and then that would just be available for the day. And so while doing that, I also learned how to make the enchiladas. And what was cool was, like, there was this one, like, all the ladies in there spoke Spanish. I started to learn a little bit of Spanish just from working there because you kind of had to, because they all like, yeah, I'm like, what? There was a lot of sign language when I first got there, like, like, a lot of body language and motion to get the understanding going. And there was this one there was this, like, big Mexican lady that would be in the back. And I always wondered what she did, and I realized what she would do is she'd show up, and all day long she'd be cooking big amounts of, like, red chili and tomatillos. Like, she wouldn't be doing anything that was going out that day. She'd be cooking shit for the next day. She'd be making these huge vats, and then when she was done, she'd stick, like, this frozen ice cube thing in it to try and drop the temperature, and then they'd throw it in the fridge. So you couldn't put it in hot. So she had to drop the temperature, so she'd throw, like, this giant, it kind of looked like a Sparklets bottle, you know, the bottled water. Yeah. But it was a giant ice cube. And she'd throw it in there, and they just, you know, reheat that and cool it, wash it, whatever, and then stick it in the soups or whatever. Yeah. And there was very few things that we made from scratch besides, like, breakfast, like the eggs and all that. There'd be a giant bucket of eggs. And, I'm going way off the deep end here. But anyway, the deep fryer, I would take, the way they taught me was you would take a corn tortilla and you just drop it in the deep fryer and then pull it out kind of quick. And all you were doing was, like, softening them and kind of putting a tiny bit of crisp on them. And then you'd stuff it with whatever, whether it was cheese or chicken, you'd stuff it and roll it up. And I thought what you were going to say when you were talking about that man and his preferred cooking pan. Yeah. I thought you were going to say that it was hard to keep up with what, I thought you were going to say he knew the orders off the top of his head, and I wound up, like, butting heads with this chick there. Like, we were real friendly until I had to work with her, because she kept giving me shit for not knowing what the like, she had been working there years, but, like, the waitresses, they had, like, short abbreviations for what they were trying to order. Mm-hmm. So, like, a CB would be like a cheeseburger. But I had to know that, and a bunch of times there was all these Mexican entrees that I had never been exposed to. So she would give me shit, and at one point I just yelled back at her like, "Hey, chill the fuck out!" Like, "Hey, like just until I know it, I still need you to tell me the answer. Like, what is this?" Because she was starting to bust my balls. Like, "You should know this by now." And I'm like, I'm not Mexican, and I just started working here. Like, I don't know what these things mean, and I'm trying to learn them through abbreviations. Like, I snapped at her, and we weren't cool after that. Like, it was, like, I think she didn't, I was so nice the whole time, like, I was trying to be professional, you know, like, nice, sweet, short answers, be kind of gracious, and nodding, but once I got on the grill, and I was running that fucker, I needed to know, and she started busting my balls and that, so I snapped at her, like, "Hey, fuck you, like, I need to know this, and until I know it, I'm not gonna know it, like, you can't bust my balls for this. You need to help me learn this shit if I'm going to do well." And we weren't cool after that. But it was funny because, like, I learned all these new cooking techniques. And I think at some point I thought I was fired, so I stopped showing up. And I wasn't. She just wanted to change my schedule. And I ran into her, like, a year later. And she's like, "What the hell happened to you?" It was the boss lady. She's like, "What happened to you?" I was like, "You fired me." And she's like, "No, I changed your schedule and you never showed up." I was like, "Oh, fuck, like, really? Really? I thought you fired me because my name wasn't on the schedule anymore." And she's like, "No, I tried to move you." And I think that girl complained and said she didn't want to work with me. So she had tried to schedule me on the days she didn't work. And I didn't know it, so I thought I was fired. That to come like a year later, I ran into her at the grocery store, and I wasn't fired, but I basically got myself fired because I didn't show up.
Oh,
whoops!
Oops!
That's some memory lane shit. All right, we're totally off the rails.
Sounds fun though.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was a cultural thing, like really, like. I think one day I made all those Mexican ladies proud because I yelled across the thing. Like, I saw the lady who was the prepper. I saw her, like, struggling to pick up this pot, and I yelled across the room, like I can't remember her name. It was like, "Janice, necesita ayuda." Like, "Do you need some help with that?" I yelled it across the thing, and all these Mexican ladies stopped and looked at me, and they all like, "Hey, all right, you finally got it. Like, you finally got the Spanish." And I was like, "Yeah, bitches." Like, "Yeah, like, high five." Like, "Yeah, I got it." But I didn't get it. It's just that one sentence, "Necesita ayuda." Do you need help? And, that was a cool experience. Like, from now on, like, when I'll make enchiladas every now and then. I do it the way they show me. I'll deep fry the shit lightly and then wrap it and then cook it, like bake it. It was crazy too, because like I learned, like, you know when they say this plate is hot?
Yeah.
It's not because the food was put on there super hot. It's because they put the food on there and then microwave it, and that plate gets super hot from the microwave. And I didn't fucking know that. Like, all the stuff is pre-made, but it's kept warm. And then when you order, it's all kind of pre-made, but they assemble it there and then slap it in the microwave. That's why when you get your beans and they have like the burned bubble holes in them, that's microwaving. I didn't know that. You know, they're like, "Oh, watch out, this plate's hot." It's because they cooked everything the day before, and then it's refrigerated and kept ready, and then they bring it out the next morning and start putting it on these, like, water boiling burners.
Yeah.
And they're heated up that way, and then, so it's kept at the proper temperature, but then they assemble it, slap it all on a plate, and then microwave it. That's why they're like, "Oh, watch the plate, it's hot." It's because of that. It's not the food being hot. I mean, it becomes hot, but the plate's hot because it's been microwaved.
It's been in the microwave.
Yeah. Which is fine. Like, it was fucking delicious. They had good food.
Yeah.
Like, living in Ajo, like, food variety was kind of hard to come by. Like, I always went to the Pizza Hut or Maria's, or I guess Marcella's. But yeah, that was the thing. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of variety to eat.
Yeah. I remember that one was like not. It was like almost open, like partially, like.
What's that?
There was like a burger. There was another burger spot. It was like more. Let me have some bomb ass, some garlic. Not garlic. What are those mushrooms? The mushroom deep fried.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, they had those there, but it was almost open like only a certain time of the year.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
There was a Dairy Queen down there with a kitchen, which is kind of rare in Tucson, and like most Dairy Queens out here, they don't have a kitchen.
Uh-huh.
I think the one on 4th might have a kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, where they serve burgers and fries and all that good shit, like chicken tenders.
Yeah.
But most Dairy Queens, they just serve ice cream and all the like sweets and shit. But the one in Ajo had a kitchen, and so does the one. I think the one on 4th has one. Like they advertise on the news or on TV all the time, like, oh, get this, $5 burger and fries deal, and then you go to a Dairy Queen and they don't have a kitchen.
Mm.
So I don't know why I'm talking about that. Ajo.
Yeah.
We're way.
I don't know. I haven't been a Dairy Queen in a minute, man.
Yeah, well, I think it's because of that. You go there and get your sweets, get your ice cream.
Mm-hmm. I'm not as big on ice cream as I am donuts.
Yeah. How about that? You got something to say on that? Like, my desire for sweets has definitely dropped off. Now that I'm older.
Uh-huh.
Like I dig some donuts and some cinnamon rolls, and if it's a really good cookie, I'll eat a cookie. Like I still like grabbing a stack of cookies and having them with some milk.
Mm-hmm.
I dig that. Like that was always a thing for me as a kid. I'd get like a whole stack of cookies and then just sit there and kill them. Just dunk them, get them all soft and eat them. That's like one thing that has held is if we got a bunch of cookies, I'll still do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my whole intake of sweets has definitely dropped out. Like going to like an IHOP and getting pancakes. I usually get whatever meal doesn't have the pancakes. Which is strange, don't you think?
It's IHOP.
Yeah, the House of Pancakes, yeah.
International House of Pancakes.
Yeah, and I prefer to...
And you're avoiding a pancake.
Yes. Does that make me one of those guys? Am I one of those guys?
Hey, one of those guys.
One of those fucking guys.
One of those Like you go to IHOP and ask for crepes.
Yeah, I go to a Mexican restaurant and get a burger. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you don't get a full stack, just get a half stack.
Half stack. See, you know the lingo there. I don't even have that. Like, I know what you're talking about, but like whenever there's the option, I tend to choose whatever the alternative is. Like, I'll get some sourdough toast, or just get a meal that doesn't have pancakes.
Oh, when you were talking about temperature, I was thinking of when we have spaghetti or like pasta, we make we call it garlic bread, but it's like French bread, but we chop it in half, put butter on it, and then garlic salt or garlic powder. Yeah. And then put it in the oven. But my issue is it feels like it could be in the oven for as long as I want, but it's not getting crispy on top. Uh-huh. So I'll turn on the broil, but it's like the broil is like you turn your head for a minute and boom, your shit's burnt. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of a risk to do the broil, but yet you want that cinch.
Yeah, but if you get it right, it's worth it. It's like, the risk. That's what I wanted right there.
Yeah, but like you ever like, I guess it's like, damn, like ruin pizza or
dude,
like that, like actually end up forgetting you turned it on boil and then the shit gets burnt.
Drinking and beer munchies. You get all fucked up and then you want to eat something in the middle of the night. I have probably come close to burning my house down so many times. Just the oven. Like I'll throw a pizza in and then I pull it out the next, like later when I wake up and it's all smoky. I pull it out and it's like a pile of coal. It's just ash on the pan. Yeah. One time I was living with my cousin and we were brewing it, and I was gonna make
fucking first meal and shit.
I was gonna make mac and cheese, and I started boiling the water. I threw the macaroni in, and then I went and sat on the couch, and I fucking passed out. And I woke up, and the pan had burned all the way through, which I've never seen before.
Oh shit!
The house was full of smoke. Like the entire upper level, like the upper area, like the floor was still kind of clear, but up above, like 3 feet up, there's just white smoke everywhere.
Oh shit!
And I went and like the fucking pan had ash in it, like just real ash, like just the powdered ash, and it had burned all the way through. You could see like ash on the burner, and the pan had like holes in it. It had cooked through. I had never seen that shit before, but like I had it high to boil the water, and I fucking went and passed out. I wanted to, we were hungry, but just not so hungry enough to stay up and eat it. Like I fucking passed out and burned the fuck out of it.
Right.
Whoops.
I know. Not when I was drinking, but like when I would just be tired, but I would like try to boil some water for noodles. Like ramen noodles. Yeah. And then I would forget I was boiling water. Because it's like you boil water and then you gotta wait a little. So
yeah, it takes a while. You go sit down.
I sat down. Boom. Knocked out. Woke up. There's no more water in the fucking pan.
Yeah.
It all evaporated and shit's all hot. So and just made a sandwich. But yeah, I have it more than once though.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm like,
sure.
why did I fall asleep and this shit could have went? I mean, that's pretty dangerous, but yeah. Yeah.
Now that was probably the worst, was when the pan burnt through and the entire house was full of smoke, and it wasn't like blackened noodles. It was fucking ash. There was ash in the pan.
God damn.
Like, fuck. I fucked up. Like, I think what's crazy is, too, is, like, the smoke alarm didn't go off until it had reached that bad. Like, that's what woke me up. I passed out, like, completely brewed out. And I woke up, and the alarm was going off, and I got up, and the whole house was just filled with smoke. And I fucking hate that, because, like, you smell it for days later, like, I fucked up. Like, every time you smell it, you give it a thought. You're like, I fucked up.
I hate that with popcorn, microwave popcorn. You burn it, and it just stays the smell.
Oh, yeah, dude, I hate that smell.
Especially when you do it in the office.
I was going to say, I'm used to smelling that in, like, the teacher's lounge.
You kind of... You killed the buzz with that smell, man.
I was like, everybody's past like, you motherfucker. You degenerate piece of shit. You burnt your popcorn.
The popcorn, yeah.
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah, and then everyone knows what you ate.
Yeah.
You burn that shit.
You come in the room, you're just like, motherfucker.
Who burned the popcorn?
Somebody burned the popcorn. What are you guys doing? The hell's going on here?
Yeah, so.
Nice. Well,
don't be that guy, man.
I've been that guy more times than I care to admit. That's the hated guy. Whoever's that guy, they're the hated guy.
You're doing too much. That shit. Knock it off.
Knock it off. Love it.
All right, well.
Do you have any last words on donuts? Like, we've gone so far out. Anything to say about donuts before we call this thing?
Nah, donuts, like you go nuts.
Go nuts for donuts. Do nuts. I like how they did that on this. It's DoNutWorryArizona.com. Is this glossary. I'm going to put the glossary up as the picture, and then I'm going to just do individual donuts, like the ones we mentioned, as the photos on this episode.
Nice. Yeah, no, comment, hit us up, write down your favorite donut, I don't know.
Yeah, at least, I enjoy, even if somebody's talking shit, I fucking enjoy a good comment, so... I love feedback. Anybody who's listening, please comment on the site, or if you see us in person, let us know what you think. I think this is a really good episode where people are going to be talking to their TV or whatever, their phone, when they're listening to this, like, that's a shitty donut, I like this. I think this is a good subject. It would turn out better than I thought it would. Like, when we first started, I was like, donuts, yes. This was a good episode. So yes, like and subscribe, people. Go ahead, Sky. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, I say you're welcome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you, sir, for bringing that.
I'll say that to you.
Nice.
Just kidding, but alright, well, this is it's always a fun one.
Yeah.
And, so
I'm
excited for it to come out.
Next week?
Yeah, hit us up.
Anytime. Any subject ideas, any feedback, any comments you want to put about any of the subjects we cover, it's no hold bar. Yeah, if you want to be a guest. I don't... My only concern with anybody who wants to be a guest is if you're serious, be serious. If you're not, then don't even bother saying anything. Like, if you want to be on, we'll make time for you to be on. We'll work around your schedule. But if you want to be on, be on. Don't drag it on. Let's get it on. You're welcome to come on. I like anybody from any background. We'll talk about whatever you like. But I will say this. I hope whoever does come on comes on multiple times. Because what we do here is we interview you the first time, and then we talk about whatever you want after. So come back on. Everybody's welcome. All right? Any last words, Sky?
Nope. Let's end it, man.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Have a donut.
Yes. I think I'm craving a donut right now.
Yeah.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Peace.